Hello and welcome to another episode of Webinar Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about insurance. That is such an important topic nowadays with new requirements from Amazon. So if you are an Amazon seller, regardless of which country you're in, if you're selling on Amazon US or any other marketplace, you need to listen in and you need to take notice because this is a very, very important topic. Mag and Kevin, how are you guys doing?
We're well. Ready for an exciting day today. Lots of info.
Well, yeah, very well, thank you, Megla. And I was just confused. It's Thursday actually, and it's sort of Wednesday. But anyway,
Yes. Well, for the last few months, we've been doing Webinar Wednesday on Wednesdays. So, we can't always have everything perfect, Kevin, right?
no,
It is Wednesday somewhere. It's Wednesday for Ashlyn. That's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So Ashlyn is waiting backstage, but before we get her on, we just wanted to tell people that we've launched our Shopify web workshop. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. This is going to be absolutely amazing. This is the first ever Shopify workshop that, I know of. I'm sure there are others out there, but this is going to be held over 4 weeks. And we've got Nicole Whitlock, who's going to be the trainer, and she's absolutely amazing. She's a whiz and a superstar when it comes to Shopify. We did a webinar with her a couple of months ago, and she was just so amazing. We got amazing feedback from people, and people were asking for a workshop with her, and that's why we got together and planned this entire workshop. So check it out at theasianseller.com/Shopify-workshop. After we finish talking to Ashlyn, we will come back and talk a little bit more about this workshop as well. Okay, so let me get Ashlyn on. Hi, Ashlyn. Good evening.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Ashlyn. Good to see you again.
You too.
Right.
I need to move mine down too.
Awesome. So, Ashlyn, first of all, for people who don't know you, which I don't think there are too many people who don't know you out there, but just in case there's somebody who's been living under a rock, do you want to give an introduction and tell us about what you do and how you help Amazon sellers?
Yeah. So I'm Ashlin Hadden. I'm the owner of Ashlin Hadden Insurance. I am located in the United States in Indiana. So I'm in the middle of the cornfields and the soybeans. So it's a little country town in Indiana. I have been an agency owner for about 5 years now, working exclusively with e-com sellers. So we help newbies who are coming in, just starting to sell online, all the way to multi-billion-dollar companies. So that's what we do. We eat, sleep, and breathe Amazon like you crazy guys. And excited to be here today to share with you about all these new crazy changes that Amazon's coming up with.
Absolutely. Mark, over to you.
Okay, yeah, Ashlyn. So look, can you just maybe give us an overview to start with of the changes and what steps that sellers need to actually comply with this?
Yeah. So in the past, Amazon has said, hey, any pro seller that's selling on the platform needs to have an insurance policy, but they really have not been policing it. It's kind of just been like, here's the rule, and we're going to let you slide through. If you don't, we're not going to really say anything. But last Tuesday, so the 17th, Amazon came out and said, all right, guys, enough is enough. We're going to start cracking down. And the new changes state that if you are selling $10,000 in sales for 1 month, you now have to have an insurance policy. And not only is this like an empty threat, like, hey, you have to have it, but we're not going to police it. They are policing it bad. They have said September 1st is the drop dead date. If you do not have insurance by September 1st and have it uploaded into Seller Central, they are threatening for the first to suspend any future payments, then give you 30 days to comply. And if you are not in compliant within 30 days, they are going to suspend your account completely. Oh. So this isn't threats now. This is real. Like, I've had customers that say, hey, Ashlyn, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. And they're already getting those threatening emails back from Amazon. So unfortunately, guys, this is not a drill. This is real this time. They are going to start suspending. So anybody who has a current policy, they're even saying, hey, we know that you've sent us your certificate of insurance via the mail. We don't care about that. it has to be uploaded in Seller Central. So those are the big changes. You have to have a policy by September 1st, and it has to be uploaded into Seller Central. If not, the suspensions are coming.
Oh,
There's a whole new tab in Seller Central. I'm really starting to get scared because there's a lot of people that sell that don't have insurance, and they've just been skirting under the system. But I'm afraid the time has come. The day of reckoning is here.
Now, Ashlyn, if people go to you, they're going to, you know what we require, but just say somebody decides they want to use some other insurance broker, you know, their cousin, their relative or whatever.
Right.
And they don't understand. There are a couple of different types of insurance you need in that, isn't there? It's not.
Absolutely. So the biggest thing that Amazon is saying is they want a general liability with products completed. And really what that means is they want you to protect what you do or say as a business. That's your general liability. And your product liability is what your products do to harm somebody else. And not only that, yeah, you could probably go find the corner market guy to do that for you, but there's specific things that they want to see on that certificate of insurance. There's specific verbiage that they have to see. There's specific boxes that have to be marked. So it's not just like a typical, here's the certificate of insurance. Over the last 2 weeks, since they've changed the rules, we have submitted thousands of these certificates. And one day they want a comma, and the next day they want a period, and the next day they want a space, and the next day if you put a space, it's declined. So we've got it down to a T now. We've done so many of these that we feel like we got it now. So before all of these changes, we were golden. We were doing these things, you know, every 10 seconds, but now they've changed so much that you need to make sure your agent knows exactly what they want, or they're going to reject it and reject it and reject it and potentially get you suspended.
So is this only for Amazon US, or is this for other marketplaces as well?
So right now they're starting with US. There has not been any threats of other markets yet, but I think it's because the US is such a litigious country that we sue for the dumbest stuff. So I think they're going to start here and then maybe move to other other platforms. But right now, this is just US if you're selling 10,000 in 1 month.
Okay. I could just see a question on here, and somebody actually asked me this yesterday, and I didn't really know the answer. Is the 10K level for sales after September 1 or at any point in the lifetime of the account?
Any point after September 1st. So September 1st, if you do 10,000 in sales, you have to have it. Okay. You go into Q4 and you do 10,000 in sales. Who knows if they're going to give you the rest of the quarter to do it? I mean, it might be as soon as you hit that 10,001, poof, you're suspended. Yeah. So I personally wouldn't wait to find out what Amazon's going to do. I would just get it uploaded by September 1st.
Yeah, no, very dangerous. Yeah, no.
So Trish is asking, what are we insuring? But I think you covered this a little bit. So it's liability.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is the product liability. So we get this question all the time, like, why do I need this? One, Amazon's requiring it. That's a no-brainer. You should do it. But two, even if you're just reselling other people's products, in America, people sue anyone that's touched the product. So that's the UPS guy, that's Amazon, and that's you as the third-party seller. And I don't ever think you as an RA, OA, or wholesale seller will ever be responsible for $1 million payout. But what you are going to be responsible for is the legal fees to get you out of that lawsuit. And if you were to get a policy, the insurance company hires the best darn attorney to get you out of that because they don't want to have to pay a claim. So that's really where you're going to see this policy is that $60,000 to $100,000 in legal fees to get you out of that lawsuit.
So the legal fees are also covered by the insurance company, right? I mean, just to be clear, it's not just
the carriers that I sell, 100%. If you use a carrier that just happens to be suggested by Amazon, one of their policies does not cover your legal fees. So you might have a $350 policy that will pay absolutely nothing if something actually happens. So be careful when you're using the Amazon suggested insurance carriers right now. You have to know what you're buying.
Right. Kim is asking, hi Ashlyn, I
Okay.
don't have insurance and I'm such a small seller that I have only ever sold more than 10,000 once in December a couple of years ago. So I should be okay for now until I hit 10,000 again.
Hopefully.
Do you want to wait?
Kim, do you want to find out? So
Yeah. It's
here's the
risky,
deal,
Kim.
guys. Most of our sellers who are not doing private label, their policies are like $500 a year. A year. Do you really want to risk losing your account for less than $100 a month? Just buy the policy, get Amazon off your back, and just move on and forget about it. It's great for your business and it gets Amazon off your back.
Yeah, I think it's something you really need to do. I just see another question there. Ashlyn, do you work with overseas companies or you own the US entities?
Great question.
I think
So
this is a big question, Ashlyn. I think we
huge
should
question.
cover all the bases because a lot of our
All right.
audiences are outside of the US.
Yes.
So, yeah, let's
So,
go deep into this.
Okay, so here how it works. You have to get a USEIN. So if you go through online and get it, you go through like Evan Sawyer to do it, however you do it, you have to get a USEIN and a US mailing address. That US mailing address has to be associated with your business. You can't use your 3PL, you can't use your buddy in the country. You need to do something like viabox.com and purchase that in your business name. So your business name is on your Viabox, and now you have a USEIN. A USEIN and a Viabox are the two things you must have. That gives you your US presence to be able to get a US insurance policy. If you do not have a USEIN and a US mailing address, the US insurance companies will not allow you to have insurance. No leeway. You have to have those two things. And then if you use my online portal to get the insurance, you have to use the EIN, the US EIN, and the US mailing address. If you say anything about the foreign address, it will kick you right out. It will not accept it. It'll be rejected. You have to use the US information. That gives you your US presence. It's a long story. Yes, we can if you get the US EIN and the US mailing address.
Mark, do you want to quickly talk about the process of getting the EIN, US EIN?
Yeah, well, look, actually, what we'll do is we'll go back. I did a Monday musings on how to get an EIN some time ago. So we'll find that link and put it into the chat or message them later when we find it, because I know it was back in January or February I did that. So that process, and it's quite easy. You can have it done in 15 minutes. If you get up at the right time when the IRS is just opening in the US and get on really quickly, you fill out the form before you go online, so you've got the right answer, so you don't sort of dilly-dally, and give them all that information, hold online, and they will give you that number on the spot. You write it down on the document you've got, and I've still got mine in the drawer from when I did it sort of 5 years ago. And then they actually eventually send you the legal paperwork, which takes a couple of months. But so it's
will you send that to me too, just in case your clients reach back out to me and say, hey, what did she say about how to do that?
Okay, well, we've got notes on how to do it and where to apply it from, because we can actually ring up. We can call online and we get it instantly, so it's really good. So we'll send that to you. I've got it in a few spots, and so that's quite easy to do. So people, it's not dramatic. It's you know, and you should have had it anyway. You're supposed to have it when you start selling on Amazon from day dot anyway. So it's something else that you haven't been doing that you should have been doing. So it's all coming to peace. Sorry, Megla.
I've just posted the link in YouTube and on Facebook as well.
Perfect.
This is in the group, so people will need to be part of the group if they're not there already. But we'll also maybe put together an article or something, Mark, that we can send out to people. I think that would be nice. We'll publish it.
Yep.
So another question that we kind of get along with this whole EIN and getting U.S. insurance is if there's like tax ramifications. Now, I'm not a CPA, but I have thousands of clients that are overseas, and we've been told time and time again that you would be since you're not creating a US LLC, that there's not a reason to file taxes. If you create that US LLC, then potentially you could use this as a pass-through. So just setting up that EIN is not going to cause any type of tax issues until you start an LLC. Oh, and there's the question.
Yeah, there's the question.
And there's a question, yeah.
Okay, so now we've also
in the
got.
event of a claim if the US address is only a virtual office.
Yes. So again, having that US EIN and that US mailing address is what makes you have your US presence. So yes.
Okay.
Did you say buy a box?
Via, VIA, via box. And I actually think it's viabox.com is the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
But any type of virtual.
Yeah.
Do you want to put that up on the screen via box? Because it sounds like you said via box, Ashlyn.
Yeah, I'll do that. viabox.com.
Yeah,
Mark,
good.
what was the one
Via.
that you used?
Yeah.
I used Shipito, SHIPITO, Shipito.
Shipito.
Shipito, I don't know what you want to say that one. And that was quite simple. It was free. Didn't cost me anything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so that's that.
Okay, what
Is it
other
a
questions
website
do
to
we
rent
have?
post office books? Well, it's not really.
Oh,
You're not really getting a post office box. It's a virtual address.
And all they do is, if you get something sent there, they scan it and send it via email, and then they shred the document. That really is all that they do.
Yeah, so we can't actually get a post office box like what at the post office here, because you've got to go and collect. You've got to go to the post office box and collect the mail. So we can't open a post office box as such with the postal service in the US. Yeah. I think people are getting confused with a post office box and a virtual address.
Yeah,
really, it's two different things, isn't it?
So Jenny had sent in a couple of questions, and she had asked, do they offer insurance for businesses registered in New Zealand? So I think that we already addressed.
You got to have those two things.
You got to have those two things. You'll be able to get it. So that's one. And then Jenny had another question. Do they have an example of what a certificate looks like? I do have insurance, but my broker has sent me a confirmation blended in with my invoice. It's not the full policy, but very wording for a certificate.
So Amazon, I don't know yet if there's an actual person looking at these or if it's all done AI. So we got a lot of rejections back the first week if there was extra stuff on the certificate. If there's any other coverages, so like a lot of people have workers' comp and employment practices and things like that, all put together in one policy. And if they were in one certificate, Amazon was rejecting those. We don't know why. So that's what makes me think that there was just some artificial intelligence looking at these. Do not send your whole policy. They will reject it. The certificate of insurance is all that you need. It's called an accord form. It'll say certificate of insurance across the top. And like I said, if your agent doesn't know what to do and what to send, you need to find a different agent, because it is very specific what Amazon wants and what boxes they want checked. So if your agent is saying, I don't know what you need, then you need to get a different agent.
Right. I think it's just a no-brainer.
It also has to have Amazon's
agency. Yeah. Because I mean, you guys know everything.
It also has to have your name on it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It has to match Amazon's site exactly. So if you started an agent or a company with Amazon, and you made your company ABC Inc., and you got your insurance policy under ABC LLC, they will reject your certificate of insurance. It has to match to the letter, to the period, to the comma, or they will reject it. So it's very, very, very important that your insurance policy matches exactly what Amazon has on their Seller Central. And in Seller Central, on the business insurance page, there's a little hyperlink that says my business, my legal business entity, or something like that. Click on that first. and see what you have put in there as your legal business entity. And that's how you need to apply for insurance. It must match that.
Yeah, look, and I think people, to be safe, when you're applying to Ashlyn, send her a screenshot of that.
Absolutely.
Go in and print that, either print it out or screenshot it, whatever you want to do. It's quite easy to find. It's under in the
insurance,
back end person. Yeah, it's the very first box, and it's now got a box that says "Load your certificate here."
Exactly.
Beside your name. So
it's funny. I feel like it's pretty dummy proof, but we're getting a lot of people that are like, what am I supposed to do here?
Yeah, no, it's quite clear what you need to do. So wherever your
Where is
your
it?
name is in the back, put this on.
I think with Amazon though, Ashlyn, people are so scared that they do one thing wrong and Amazon are going to turn the power off.
Yeah, they are. And if you don't
people
get insurance, they're going to turn the power off.
So you can't win.
So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't right now.
Yes, for sure.
So Ashlyn,
Just
what kind
do
of
it.
information do sellers need to give you when they apply? And what's the process? Can you talk a little bit about that? So they go to their website. Where do they go on your website?
Yeah, so if you go to the website, which is www.ecom.insure, there's a little button that says get a quote. Then there's a drop-down box. You got to pick the right drop-down box. It says, I private label or I don't private label. Pick which one you are. If you have a brand, you private label or white label, you need to fill out the application that says, I private label. If you don't, fill out the one that says, I don't private label, and it asks you some basic information. It takes about 5 minutes. There's no fluff. We've taken this huge, long application that most people make you fill out and made it into a very short application. You're looking for the business entity, which must match Amazon, the address that must match Amazon, the link to your storefront. That's the biggest thing. We have to know what we're insuring. Are we insuring a pen or are we insuring a fidget spinner with a knife on the end of it? Like, we have to know what we're insuring. Then your sales. A lot of people are like, well, I don't know what my sales are going to be this year. You just got to give me a guess. What is your best guess of what you think you're going to do? If you're wrong, it's okay. We're not going to come to your house and take your dog. It's all right. Give us your best guess at what you think you're going to sell. Then we shop it for you. So we have our API, which is our internal connections with 40 different carriers. We shop it for you, and then we find you the best price out there. And then I have internal teams with all of those different carriers, so we can get these things bound really, really quick. So you might hear from my internal sales team, Allie or Alex at the Hartford. You might hear from my internal team, Clarissa from State Auto. Like, it really depends on where you're at and what you're selling and things like that. So you might not hear directly from me, but I have a team of women behind me who are just pounding through these every day so we can get you guys your certificates by September 1st. Again, biggest thing to think about when you're applying, do not use your foreign information. It will kick it out. You'll say, hey, how come I didn't get my quote? And I'm like, well, you said that you were in India and it kicked it out. So you've got to use that USEIN and the US mailing address and all of the US information to get that to go through very, very quickly. Then it literally is payment. Here's my money, Ashlyn. We'll bind your policy and we will automatically send you your certificate of insurance. I've even given you step-by-step instructions on where to go to upload it and what to put in each box so Amazon doesn't reject it. So it's a pretty quick and easy process as long as you're not using that foreign information. We have some people getting it quoted and issued within a couple of hours. So potentially very, very fast.
And how much does it generally cost?
Yeah, if you're not doing private label, it could be like $500-ish a year. Now, again, that depends on your sales. If you're doing $500,000 in sales, it might not be that cheap. I would say anywhere between $500 and $800-ish for the entire year. As long as you're not doing private label, the carriers do let you set up monthly payments too to help. As long as you use a routing and account number, they will not let you do monthly payments with a credit card. You can pay in full with a credit card, but you just can't do monthly payments with a credit card.
Can we pay with bank transfer?
We can for a fee. If it's like, this is the only way that you've got it, and we have to do a wire, I get charged the wire fee to accept it. So as long as you're okay with taking that on, then I would absolutely do it. If that's the only way that you can get the funds here.
Mag, you're muted. So let's take this question in the meantime. I missed a bit
How
at
hard
the
is it to
beginning,
change it?
so sorry if you have already addressed this. How hard is it to change an EIN with Amazon? I have one set up to my New Zealand business.
That's for you guys. I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah. You don't need to change
Oh,
it,
they
Jenny.
don't know.
Yeah. You
Amazon
need to
don't
change
have your EIN at the moment. I've never given Amazon my EIN at all. It's nowhere on my account. They don't ask that question. It's more you need it for the IRS in America than for Amazon. When you start an Amazon business and you're selling in America, you really should have, whether you're selling on Shopify or Amazon or whatever, you need an EIN because you're actually working effectively in the US. So it's not an Amazon thing.
Yeah.
So I don't
So
think it'll be on there.
I think Jenny missed the beginning. So Jenny, you need your existing EIN, and then you need to get an address in the US, and then you need to reach out to Ashlyn.
So I see
sorry.
a question. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, I see Trish there's asked if she's got a debit card with Airwallex, you could pay by that. I've paid by that and it wasn't an issue. So, so it's easy in the bank transfer if you've got the debit card. So check that you've got that. I think you should have.
Yeah.
I saw a question about if we're on Amazon's accelerator. So we have applied. I think we're like 75% done. We're just waiting on Amazon to come back. I've done all of my verifications and jumped through all the hoops and stood on my head. So I think we're close. But to answer the question, like what makes my agency different is that this is people. The people that Amazon is recommending right now is all online tech companies. They don't have an insurance background. As I stated earlier in our podcast, even one of their policies does not even have coverage for your legal fees. So knowing the policy and knowing the coverages is definitely the biggest draw to us. Is we know Amazon. We've been in the community. I went with Megala to China and walked the Canton Fair. Like, we are in the community. We know what Amazon wants. We know how to work through the system. And I was the first one that started posting in the groups when Amazon changed the rules. You didn't see Amazon's accelerator programs reaching out to you guys saying, hey, this is what's going on. You need to change things. Yeah. That's why you've got to have somebody in the community. I posted yesterday on Facebook. I had a client text me at 11:30 at night when I was sitting at the tarmac. And I was like, would you be able to call up the owner of Next and say, hey, I've got an issue and I need your help? There's no way. So that's what's different between me and then the ones that Amazon are pushing right now is it's real people who are sitting behind the computer looking at your business model and saying, hey, this is what you really need to be protected, not just selling you a $350 policy that's not going to protect you when something actually happens.
Yeah.
And hey guys, that's why we brought Ashlyn. That's why we brought Ashlyn to you today. It's simply that, because you get Ashlyn and you can speak to Ashlyn.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All good stuff.
Catherine, is
there
a lot of products different from private label sellers?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, you've done this one.
Absolutely. So when you're private label, you are 100% responsible now for what happens in a claim. So like if I was selling this big pen just as RA and I jab it in my eye and I sue, the insurance companies are going to go back to Bic, and Bic's got big pockets. But when I take Bic's name off this and now I make this Ashlin Hadden's pen, now I'm 100% responsible for what happens to this pen. So where before we're looking at legal fees, now we're looking at millions of dollars in settlements. So the cost difference can be huge. Again, it depends on what you're selling. on what the price is. I would love to say it's going to be this amount of money, but it really depends if you're selling a pen versus a knife versus baby items. It really depends. So let me kind of give you an idea. Top 5 riskiest things if you private label on the body. If it goes on the body, that means lotions, cosmetics, skincare, anything like that. In the body, food, supplements, those kinds of things. So on the body, in the body, for a pet, anything pet. If you have a supplement line for a pet, if you have dog food for a pet, if you have a leash for a pet, it is high risk. For a child is number 4. Anything for a child is automatically going to be high risk. I don't care if it's a toy or a scarf or a bow, anything for a child. And then this year, the next highest risk, your number 5, is going to be exercise equipment. Everybody has gotten into this whole new like fitness crave, and there has been so many claims on fitness equipment right now. It is super, super high risk. So on the body, in the body, for a pet, for a child, or exercise equipment, you're talking at least probably $3,500 for a policy. Now, I'm not saying it can't come in cheaper. I'm not saying it's going to come in more expensive. We have clients who have $10,000 insurance policies. It really depends on what you're selling and how much of that you're selling.
Right.
So stay away from those.
So then I guess that question here, Oksana's asking, do we need to add new products to the insurance when we expand our portfolio?
Yeah, so if you're private label, 100% of the time you need to let us know if you have a new private label brand. But if you're RA, OA, and wholesale, sell away. I don't need to know anytime you have a new product. We audit the policies randomly once a year. So if we see a fidget spinner with a knife on the end of it, we're going to say, hey, maybe you should drop that one. But other than that, if you aren't doing private label, you can add SKUs and delete SKUs as much as you want. I don't need to know.
But even for private label, if they're adding a related product within that category, is that okay? Or
yeah, so let's say that you're doing the baby scarves or whatever those things are called. Like burp rags. If you go from like a square burp rag to a diamond shaped burp rag, then I don't need to know that. But if you decide to go from burp rags to baby food, I need to know that. So as long as it stays within the same type of category, I don't need to know. But they are called named policies. So it's going to say burp rags, baby food, baby Bjorns, whatever. And if it does not fit in that category and you added it without letting us know, it will not be covered in the case of a claim. So you do have to let us know those things.
Okay.
That's all the questions there, I think.
What's the recent case that happens in court and how a seller with insurance got helped covered?
Yeah, so I love these. There's all kinds of claims that we've gone through. So one of my favorites is because a lot of customers come to us and say, hey, Ashlyn, I have all kinds of warning labels. There's all this stuff that I tell my clients, so there's no way that they could sue. Well, we had a customer who did, I don't know if you guys have them over there, but they like latch over your door frame and you kind of like, they're like resistance bands and you like pull them down and like exercise. Do you guys have those over there?
Yeah.
Okay. So she was private labeling one of these products. She had written instructions on how to install it correctly, written instructions on like, do not do it this way with pictures on like how not to install it. She had a YouTube video on how to install it correctly. She had a YouTube video on how to not install it correctly, a YouTube video on how to use it correctly. Like, we were like, this is solid. We know, she did great. We're perfect. Things are wonderful. Well, the guy ended up at snapback and hit the guy in the face. And the issue was in court is that we couldn't prove that they installed it incorrectly. So yes, she said, well, it had to be installed incorrectly because it wouldn't have done it if it was. He said he installed it correctly. They ended up settling for $650,000, and that was her settlement plus legal fees. So she was over $1 million in a settlement with legal fees. Her policy was $2,500 a year, and she got over $1 million in coverage. Wow. So yeah, it helps all the time. We had another one that was just a light bulb. He was just the light bulbs you put underneath your countertops that illuminate down to your countertops, and it ended up catching the under countertop on fire, and they had to replace an entire section of the kitchen. I mean, that was only $22,000, but still, that was a $500 policy that he got $22,000 worth of coverage out of. So it helps. I mean, I don't have $22,000 that I want to just throw away.
Did she win or lose?
So she lost. She lost big.
So
they couldn't prove that she did anything wrong, or that the guy did anything wrong.
So what would have happened if she didn't have a policy? She would have
had to pay that all out of pocket herself.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So the legal fee, she would have had to hire an attorney on her own, which here in America, our defense attorneys for product liability are over $500 an hour. And you can't do anything for less than 40 to 50 hours. So she would have had to pay all of that out of pocket on her own, plus the $600,000 settlement. She could have lost her house. She could have lost her car. She could have lost her 401k. I mean, she could have lost everything.
That is so scary.
I just found a question on our question sheet that somebody's put in. Do you provide insurance to company with sole proprietorship? Are the premiums more expensive for SP compared to PTE?
No, so there's no price difference, but you still, even if you're a sole proprietor, you still have to have the USEIN. So you would have to get a sole proprietor EIN to be able to get the US insurance.
Okay.
So I think, those questions were from Mabel, but I think the other questions are already addressed, right, Mark?
Yeah. On the other one is, how long is a typical claim period for getting reimbursement provided there are no issues with Amazon and the insurance company? Well, I mean, that could be.
Depends on what the claim is for. If it's something simple, we can prove that this is just medical payments. It might take 30 days. We've had a claim for a death of a dog. Little Fluffy, I don't know his name, but the dog passed away after chewing on a cord. And we're still fighting that, and it's been almost 2 years. So it really depends on what the claim is. But they want to settle fast. They want to get it done and over with. So the quicker you guys react to the claims adjuster, the quicker the person who got hurt reacts, the quicker things can just be done and moved on.
Okay, just a question, there is a question here, but I think we've covered most of it. But just say all of a sudden, you're drawing 100,000 and you have 3 bumper months and you're up to 200,000. I would assume we need to contact you and say, I've now gone over what I told you, and there'll be an increase in my premium. Am I right in that, or does it last a year?
It depends on how you want to budget. If you're paying month to month and you would like us to adjust your monthly payment, then we absolutely could do it midterm. If you don't care, there will be an audit at the end of the year. So they're going to come back and say, hey, you told me $100,000 in sales. What were your actual sales? And you have to prove it. You have to upload that information from Seller Central. And if you said $100,000 and you actually did $1 million, bet your butt they're gonna send you a bill. But if you said 100,000 and you did 110, there's probably not going to be any adjustments. So it's completely up to you. If you want to do it midterm, we absolutely can update it midterm. If you want to wait to the end of the year, after Q4 and after you get your big payout, we're totally fine with that.
Oh, no, well, that's good, because if people do it yearly, they don't have to worry until a renewal like anything
Exactly.
else, like car insurance or whatever.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So I don't think, and then someone says, if I'm discontinuing some products, will there be a reduction in premium?
If you're private label, potentially. Again, it's more about what your sales are. So if you're reducing a product, and you're losing sales, then yes, your premium could potentially go down. But if you're just taking a product off that's not selling anything, you might not see any reduction at all. So again, what you're selling and how much of you're selling all goes into that factor of how much your premium is.
Right. So I think we got a couple of questions. Catherine, so it's okay to have an Australian company with a registered address in Australia, but also with a US virtual address attached. Yes, so Catherine, yeah, go ahead.
I say the EIN is the big thing. Having the US EIN and the US virtual address is okay. If you apply and say, I have an Australian company, I don't have an EIN, but here's my US address, it will be not denied. You gotta get the US EIN, US address, and apply under that. That's what makes you have that US presence.
Yeah, so I think too, maybe people are getting a bit confused, because if your Amazon account is in XYZ at my address in Geelong on Amazon, I've got a virtual US address, which is on my insurance policy. You don't go and tell Amazon your virtual address in America in your actually Amazon back end. Don't go changing that, because I hate changing too much in Amazon. I don't like changing my bank account.
So to get the insurance, you apply under the US, all of the US information. Okay. So again, if you put anything about Australia, it's going to be declined. When we send you your certificate of insurance, we will say, here is your Australian address that matches Amazon. But you cannot do that until we send you the certificate of insurance. You've got to get your policy issued under the US EIN. Then that certificate will match what you put on Amazon. Like, again, we know what we're doing. We know how to get it approved by Amazon. So just trust. I noticed it. Just trust us, but just trust us. We know what we're doing.
I got Miss Ashlyn last week, and it was seamless. No problems. And I uploaded, and I sent her a message. Got it done in about, I don't know, it was about 30 or 40 minutes. I put it into Amazon and sat here going, oh, what's going to happen now? And I just got this lovely letter back saying, thank you. We don't need any further information. So she does know what she's doing.
How long did it take you, Mark, the entire process?
Well, I'd sort of emailed Ashlyn, and I sent her what I thought she'd probably need. Like I listed all my products, took a photo of each one and a bit of a description, but then they did need a little bit, and I gave them my turnover, but I think they came back. I can't remember what else they wanted. I didn't actually give them my EIN at the time, but I had them. So, and I gave them a US address. So it's probably 2 emails back and forwards. And then from the minute I sent that email, during the night, I got a message saying, yeah, it's all done. Here's your certificate. So, yeah, pretty quick. Probably, awesome. I'd say, you know, if you actually listen now to everything Ashlyn said you need, and you give her all that information from the first minute, it probably won't take you very long at all, because you won't have to, you know, come back to you. Yeah. So do you want to maybe just go back over exactly what they need to give you? Maybe. Just because people are still confusing.
USEIN. So get your USEIN through Margaret's how to go through her video to figure out how to do it, and your US address using a VIA box. Once you have that information, you go to www.ecom.insure, click on get a quote, complete the application on there with your quote information using your US address. Once you get that, we'll get you your quotes. And then when we will send you your certificate of insurance, then we can make sure that we've got your certificate of insurance that matches the address that Amazon has. So like Margaret said earlier, take a picture of that section on Amazon that says my US entity is. Make sure that you send that to us too, so we can see that we're matching how Amazon lists your name to the dot, to the L, to the C, to the T, to the, you know, everything, and that we have that address to put on your certificate of insurance.
Okay. Now you shouldn't get any questions. Now they all should know.
We'll still have questions.
Well, Catherine's asking if the EIN is also registered to the Australian address. Yes, Catherine, your EIN will be registered to your Australian address, because you are getting an EIN as a foreign entity, but that's okay. That's not a problem. Just make sure you don't give your Australian address to Ashlyn when you're applying for your insurance. You have to give her the US address.
There's a section that says physical address and mailing address. If you want to just put the physical address as your US address, because that's what we have to have. If you want to put your Australian address in the mailing address, you are more than welcome to do that then. It just cannot be in that physical address spot or it gets declined. Or there's a note section. You can put it in the note section even. Wherever you guys want to put
it. What does the deductible box mean in the application?
Yeah, so the deductible is going to be like I don't know if you guys have deductibles on auto insurance over there. So if you're in a claim, you have to pay the first $500. That's your deductible. On these types of policies, there's a zero deductible on liability. So you can put 0 in that box. You don't have to put a number. It's automatically going to come with $1,000 0 deductible. So just put 0 there.
Yeah, they call it excess here, Ashlyn.
Okay, excess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I get it before I have any products?
So we do have to see what we're insuring. So if you don't have a product yet, you can send us pictures of your sample products, or you can send us a link to a competitor, as long as it's exactly like the product you're going to be selling. So if I'm going to be selling this pen, you can send me a competitor link to this pen, or you can send me the manufacturer pictures of this pen. But we physically have to see what we're insuring.
Okay. I don't see any
lots of good questions.
Here. Yeah, that's lots of
good
questions.
I don't think I think we've covered everything on the list that we had.
No, it's been very good, very comprehensive, yeah.
Kevin, any questions from you?
But I think the takeaway
yeah. Get the EIN.
Yes.
And don't tell me about your foreign entity and the mailing address or the physical address. That's the biggest thing that kicks us right out every time.
Bryson's getting
impatient.
I
think
today.
even if people are living in the US, whether you need an EIN and Ashlyn, all that information, Ashlyn is probably one of the better because she knows exactly what is needed because she works directly with Amazon all the time. So, she knows that it has to have Amazon's name as another party on it. She knows all these rules. If you just use some random person because you think you might save this for a couple $100, I just don't think it's worth it. And then if the paperwork's not right and you've got to do it again and you've got to try and get a refund from the other company and then move to Ashlyn because you realise she was smarter than the average bear in the first place, you're making, a lot of work for yourself. So, I think it's a bit safe. Go with someone who knows what they're doing. And as she says, some of the people at Amazon are recommending are not all that good because do you want to have to pay that legal fees? I certainly don't. So I don't think
and they're sharing data. So like part of my application process is, are you willing to share data with us? And I said no. So I don't know, maybe I screwed myself. That's why it's taking so long. But they're connected directly to Amazon. So what you do on your insurance policy, the information is given to Amazon, and Amazon is giving information to your insurance company. So do you really want to trust somebody that's in bed with Amazon? And I don't know. I'm not a seller, but it seems a little big brother to me. I don't know if I want Amazon sharing information with my insurance company. So
no. And if your turnover goes up, do they just automatically send it to that insurance company, and then they've got access to your account because your money will be coming out of your Amazon profit, so they can just take that out. I mean, I've heard other instances where, with shipping, when you're using the global shipping with Amazon, one guy, they made a mistake in his customs and they hit his account with $20,000. He was overdrawn on his Amazon account. And of course, then 2 weeks later, they go out and try and hit your credit card. So, I don't like to give them any access to anything I don't have to, and I know they've got my credit card now, so if I give them my insurance stuff and they go off and some little man decides that I've had a big increase, and before I've got time to answer or know what's happening, it's hit my account and I might be planning on that to pay for my stock next week. So I wouldn't trust Amazon with that, because you're giving them access to everything. And I don't want other people seeing it, because I know they don't ask. I know somebody who's actually done the insurance and they just said they wanted to do it, and the next thing they got the certificate. So I don't even know how they get an EIN because they were in Australia and they didn't. I don't think they had to furnish an EIN or anything. So I don't know how that works either.
It sounds like it's going to be more complicated as I already have insurance, and making that certificate tick Amazon's boxes. It sounds easier if you're starting from scratch. So what if somebody already has an insurance policy? Should they try to upload it to Amazon and see if it works?
Yeah, I mean, if you've already paid for the policy, Jenny, try to upload it. And if it gets rejected, reach out to your current agent and see if they can help. And if they can't help and you've tried a couple of times, if you're not going to be out any money, then cancel the policy and start another one. You know, if you're like a surplus lines where you have prepaid and they won't give you a refund, maybe try a little harder. But if you've already bought a policy and they'll refund you the unearned premium, cancel the policy and start a new one.
Right. I think there was one other question. If somebody has a policy from, let's say, Australia, would that be accepted? Will Amazon accept that?
I have not seen it, so I don't know because we don't have Australian paper. So give it a shot and try. Again, as long as it ticks those boxes, it lists Amazon Services LLC. It's a general liability policy. The dates match. It matches your policy or your name on Amazon. Give it a shot. We've had clients do it 5 or 6 times before they come to me and say, hey, Ashlyn, I guess I need your help. So it's not going to hurt you right now to submit it and see if it gets verified or rejected. Give it a shot. And if it doesn't, then, feel free to reach out to us and we can absolutely help.
Right.
I did read somewhere in an Amazon blurb the other day that it said you can get insurance from the country that you live in and your company is in. And that's acceptable. So I'm assuming that if I wanted to go to someone in Australia and get it, but hey, do they know the US laws? And I think I prefer you to be handling my claim than somebody here who has got no idea of the litigation in the US.
Yeah, if the claim happens in California and your insurance company's in Australia, that might be a little difficult.
Yeah, I think it's
exactly. Yeah.
I was determined somehow I was going to get through and get it through.
I might go to California to represent you just because I want to go to California. I'll handle it personally just for you.
Okay, so I think, I haven't got any more questions on my list.
Yeah, we've got no other questions from here. So, Ashlyn, thank you so much for your time
thanks,
today.
guys.
It's absolutely amazing. I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of questions and people signing up as well. And, you just have a good night, and thank you so
Wonderful,
much.
guys. Thanks so much for having me. Good night.
Okay.
I mean, good day.
Thanks for your time, Ashlyn.
Good day.
Yeah. That's
Cool.
awesome.
That was awesome.
Wow.
So, Mohammed is asking, do you also cover the rest of the world? What does that mean? Yes, Mohammed,
He means
as long as
he
you have
wants
an
cover
EIN.
for another country.
Oh, okay, cover for another country. Yeah.
I think
That's
what he means. So he's doing business in India. That's a question for Ashlyn. I have no idea, but I would assume so.
And filling out the form, does it matter the brand or the LLC?
LLC. Entity.
Right.
Yeah,
Whatever your legal entity is in the back end of Amazon. So you need to go into Amazon, into the settings, and there is a spot there that says legal entity. You need to see whatever that is. You need to cut and paste that into your form with Ashlyn, or send it to her as an attachment so she knows it's got to be exactly the same. So not your brand, whatever your legal entity is. And it would probably be, if you've got a company, it'll either be an LLC in America or a PTY in Australia, or I don't know, what is it, a PT? What do you have? PTE or something, don't you? In Singapore?
PTE, yeah.
Yes,
PTE.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
let's
it must
just-
match.
Okay, cool. Before we sign off over here, I just want to quickly talk about our Shopify workshop that's coming up really soon. We just announced it yesterday. So in case you haven't had the time to go through the website, I just want to quickly share my screen and go over the agenda real quick in case anyone's interested in joining this. We just learned yesterday that Shopify has actually partnered with TikTok, and they'd announced a partnership, I think last year maybe, but now they've deepened that partnership. And I think this could be a game changer in the long term, because TikTok is already driving so many Amazon sales. I mean, there's, trends and challenges that become popular on TikTok, and there are influencers who use a particular product, and then the product just blows up. And there have been stories of some influencers selling like 100,000 pieces a day. Of course, it doesn't happen, too often, but there is the possibility of a product becoming very, very popular if it gets popular or viral on TikTok. So I think that's a really good opportunity, and to leverage TikTok. And then with Shopify, it actually integrates with TikTok. So what it means is that the product can be integrated in your video ad. So I think it's pretty amazing what the possibilities with TikTok and Shopify. I'm not a TikTok user myself, but I've just heard of all of these success stories out there. So the workshop itself is a 4-part live workshop where we're basically going to give you the A to Z of selling on Shopify. And the workshop is conducted by Nicole Whitlock, who is a Shopify expert. And I'm just going to scroll down to, so she has done a webinar for us recently, and we were so impressed by the depth of her knowledge of Shopify that we invited her to do this workshop. So she does other e-commerce conferences as well, but she specializes in Shopify. So this is going to be a 4-day workshop. It's going to be live, of course, and you are going to be part of an exclusive Telegram group as well, where you can ask Nicole any questions that you might have. So day 1 is going to be all about the basics, and we're going to be explaining how to, why you should use Shopify, what are the benefits, understanding Shopify, the store model, business model, and understanding and defining your niche. So day 1 is all about the basics. Day 2 is where you will actually start doing some work. And the idea is to give you a step-by-step process so that by the end of the workshop, you can have an up and running Shopify account. You can actually follow along. This is what I really like about Nicole's approach. She will give you the steps like, okay, do this, go here, sign up here, fill in this form, upload this here. You can actually follow along and then create your own account and set up your own shop while you're going through the workshop. So Nicole actually said that her objective is to have everybody, be able to set up their shops by the end of the workshop. So then day 2 is all about creating your account, set up Shopify, define your store, themes, menus, features, domain name, logo, address, email, create social media assets, collections and menus, add products, and optimize listings. So by the end of day 2, you should be able to add products to your Shopify store. Day 3 is about scaling and increasing your sales, and also some of the other important aspects such as shipping, page setup, policies, contact us, preferences, payments, customer discounts, Facebook ads, Google ads. There's a lot of stuff that she's going to be covering. Customer service and returns, integrations with different channels. And then day 4 is going to be about increasing your sales. So Black Friday prep, tracking your numbers, some more tools, social signals, selling strategies, outsourcing operations. And then we're also going to be inviting a company from India, Cocotuft, that actually offers drop shipping for their doormats, and they can integrate with your Shopify store. So if you are interested in sourcing products from India, then this could be a great company. And they also do personalized doormats for you for your account. So yeah, I think overall it's an amazing program, and it will really help you get started on Shopify. If you don't have any idea of how Shopify works, this is perfect for you. If you are a bit familiar with Shopify, I think it's a good workshop as well for you, because you can learn additional strategies that you might not be aware of. In terms of the dates, we start in the US, it's September 10, 17, 24th, and October 1. So Fridays over 4 weeks. And the timings is 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. So each session is about 2.5 hours, but I'm sure we'll go over just looking at all of the content. And then if you're in Europe, Asia, or Australia, it's September 11th, 18th, 25th, and 2nd, Saturday mornings. So in Singapore, it's 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. In Melbourne, it's 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody is aware of this and knows about this incredible workshop that we have planned.
Yeah, and people, it's fabulous. It's amazing. I mean, we've been, sort of going through, the step by step and speaking with Nicole, sort of regularly on what she's brought brought together is fantastic. It's a great opportunity for people to start their sort of Shopify store. And of course, over 4 weeks is even more, because, you know, over that 4 weeks, you know, it's a great way to learn, you know, sort of over 4 weeks, and not just all rammed in one session. So, and plus the Telegram group, of course. So fabulous, good opportunity to get on the Shopify, to start your Shopify store and get on the roundabout.
Yeah, and I think it's like when you look at all the points after going through it all with Nicole, and I mean, you know, we spent an hour and we're going through all this, and I'm thinking, my God, it isn't that simple. I mean, you know, it seems like almost as complicated as setting up your Amazon, because there's so many steps. So, yeah, I mean, to me, it's a bit of a no-brainer if you're ever thinking of doing it. You know, you can have it virtually set up and be ready for Christmas if you can, you know, if you've got some product.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's what a great time. What a great time to, you know, Q4, what a great time to, you know, get on a shop, you know, to open the Shopify store. And I mean, you know, what Nicole doesn't know about Shopify is
she's amazing.
So,
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Yeah, for such things, I think it's good to have somebody, you know, hold your hand and walk you through the process instead of trying to figure it all by yourself, because there's just so many moving parts and you don't want to, you know, make mistakes. And it's it's a very reasonable workshop. It's $279 US for 4 weeks, so I think it's pretty reasonable.
And for those that can't get there on the time, they can go through the replays, Megla, can't they?
Exactly. We've got recordings of all the sessions. You can watch the replay and then come back in the Telegram group and ask Nicole any questions that you might have.
And I think I said this before, but having the Telegram group, people can actually go in there at any time when they've got the replays or they've done the live, and they can ask whatever questions they want. And of course, you know, people in the group will come and sort of help you. It's about helping each other to get it all up and going. So
exactly. So
easy.
Definitely, guys, check it out, and we will see you at the workshop. So I've got to run now. I've got another webinar with global sources now, talking about omni-channel e-commerce. I don't think I posted the link in the group. I'll probably post the link. This should be interesting. We've got John Polidin and David Nicolici. They're talking about omni-channel e-commerce. So I'll post the link in the group.
Post it.
And people can join us. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us.
Okay.
Kevin, you have a great week.
Bye, everyone.
And a special thanks to Ashlyn for coming on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Ashlyn.
Okay.